Part 1. Freedom Alchemy Class. Boot Camp. Boot Camp Freedom Alchemy Class. Bounty of the I Am Activity Dispensation. St. Germain, 16th October, 2018. The I Am Presence, St. Germain's permission for use of the I Am discourses by the Elemental Grace Alliance Council as part of our educational programs. Application for permission by Peter Melchizedek for and on behalf of the Elemental Grace Alliance Council. Date 16th October 2018. Invocation. Infinite presence expressing your perfection everywhere. I welcome and praise your perfect manifestation in all our lives, homes, and worlds, that your radiant light may forever consume everything unlike itself, that your wisdom may always direct, your love always enfold, your light always illumining your perfect pathway, and that you hold us firmly in your glorious radiance now and forever. Peter, I call upon the all-encompassing and all-pervading I Am, the Christ within me and my beloved brother St. Germain, so that I may ask for and on behalf of the Elemental Grace Alliance Council for the guided use of the I Am Presence discourses that you, St. Germain and beloved Jesus, presented to our brother and sister, Godfrey and Lotus Ray King, the Ballards, back in the 1930s. I understand the conditions of use as they have been explained in your Discourse 21, dated December 3rd, 1932. But to gainful and undeniable comprehension of the I Am, inner knowing of our outer individualized expression thereof, I ask you to come now and share with me/us as to your decisions of this request. Out of the fullness of your mighty opulence, O mighty I Am, I feel your qualifying presence hastening to all who turn to you in your perfection. I now await your direction and guidance. St. Germain. Beloved brother, and all those who shall read or listen to this testimonial, you may wonder why I am calling this response a testimonial, but that is exactly what it is. A testimony to truth and life of the I Am Presence, love in all action. Peter, you make us smile, for sometimes you appear to be totally oblivious to what you are doing, with no mind for the facts or the reality of what has been created to date with the Elemental Grace Alliance. Yet that which you continue to do is totally in alignment with the I Am Presence outpourings for the individualized expression of God life. As you have made yourself ready to make this connection, you completely forgot that not only am I, St. Germain, and Jesus the Christ, sitting upon the Elemental Grace Alliance Council, we are too, with the whole of the company of heaven, including the elementals, devas, and angelic host beings. So even though you have the humility to come before us again to seek this permission of use for the Elemental Grace Alliance, you have already earned the right for their use without question. The Elemental Grace Alliance continues to honor universal law without waiver. You have stood forth holding the values and virtues of the rays, in keeping to the foundational principles that set the Elemental Grace Alliance apart from any other group to date upon the planet with such a divine plan. And so, without further ado, I, St. Germain and Lord Jesus, say to you, your request is granted. But there are a couple of conditions that I will outline for you in a moment. Not conditions of your use, but conditions of those with whom they shall be shared with. But before I go into this, I want to remind you, in a way, so you yourself may continue to accept the unencumbered support that you have magnetized to the ego from day one. But for those who may read this so as to show why this request to become an educational platform for the use and direct sharing of these I Am Presence's discourses along with any other of my other discourses or work that I share directly with other institutions and like groups. Let me explain about the timely introduction of these particular discourses and why I have not brought them forward to you before. As you know, these discourses do not come under the same law of dispersal as do normal discourses by the masters. These discourses have not come via a normal transmission of channelings through human consciousness. These have come directly from the I Am Presence of all that is. These discourses were not channeled at all. They were transmitted by light and sound directly out of the ethers of the all-pervading I Am of the Godhead. It took 30 years of preparation by the Ray Kings and the Ascended Masters to prepare for these discourses to be given in this way. A venue was prepared whereby all present would be able to hear through their ears and see with their own eyes my voice and me, Christ Jesus, and others in physical presence in the room. And so these discourses carry with them a resonance of such power and such intensity that cannot be allowed to be placed in the hands of anyone, students or not, with the full charge fully embedded within them. The book and other dissemination forms do not carry these embodiments, for if they did, those who would read them would have their lives radically transformed, and I shall say, not for the good. So these discourses under their full radiation must only be shared, disseminated, and allowed to be studied and put into life experiences by those who have trod the path long enough that can be trusted without question to uphold and honor the value of their teachings. We have not been able to allow these discourses to enter the Elemental Grace Alliance to date, because those who have been members, even those who have taken the vows and pledges and covenants have been made, were unable to hold true to their I Am Presence, inner and outer guidance. They have chosen to jump the train, as Jesus' analogy clearly described their consequences of these decisions. To be open to the power of these discourses, one slip in consciousness would be like driving down a highway at full speed with the energies of the I Am Presence firmly planted in one's consciousness. Then, just before stopping to refresh the gas tank, and a loss of I Am Presence consciousness allowed for a huge argument to occur that was all about the ego personality. Total loss of concentration would occur, and the result would be, instead of putting diesel in the tank, one would put petrol and not even know it. Only to find yourself back on a highway with not only no power to drive another mile, but to have to call for external assistance to be taken off the highway, drain and repair, and fill up the vehicle correctly again with the original power supply. The result of this would, when manifest, huge delays in time in all manner of speaking, accidents, road works, and diversions of traffic, and then off the highway again. The destiny of that day alone would be extremely detrimental to the journey, let alone the days to come. I see you smiling, Peter. True enough? Yes? So while the ego members remain in these states of imbalanced decisions, we could not allow such radiations to be released, not even to the Elemental Grace Alliance, of which we ourselves are eternal members, after all that has been achieved to date. Now, we see who is stepping forward, making their decrees and pledges and covenants, and we know who they are. And so we are ready to release this power to the Elemental Grace Alliance through its fully pledged and covenanted members only. In my discourse, Protecting the Future within the Ego book, I said this, I quote, "The new specialized gatherings to truly nurture and protect the quality of life and freedom of spirit through invocation, ceremony, and ritual have already begun. And these gatherings indeed work within certain areas of the dispensations that Peter so wisely and assuredly has proposed. We are now traveling particularly with point number 17 of the proposals, teaching, facilities, and programs in the Ego book. So much to tell you, so much we wish to give, provide, and assist humanity with. Yet still our hands are tied for just a while longer before humans are in a position of their own focus of knowing what it is that they, through their own I Am presence, desires of them. While confusion remains, misunderstandings of their perceptions of what God is and how the laws of the universe function and are applied, there remains a deficit of the love substance that shall continue to prevent the movement of mountains, the removal of negativity, discord, destruction, and the elimination of inhumane actions towards humanity." End excerpt. What is so beautiful about this Elemental Grace Alliance, and I did indeed from its beginning have my reservations, but through one human being with a dream, so much clarity of intention and application of the laws, it has provided this amazing platform from which to ascend into greater awareness and universal understanding. Through this shall come a revolution of truth that will set humanity free from all those things that they are presently having to face head on. This Elemental Grace Alliance was proposed originally because there was perceived an imbalance between humanity and the elemental kingdoms. It is absolutely on track within the present human consciousness and the need to reunite the three groups of evolving beings that must come together before any of the proposals made here can be fully engaged, implemented, executed, or employed. It is this group of dear souls who will now not only replenish the numbers of the Ego members, but who will bring with them such a diversity of values, qualities, and virtues that to date the Ego is lacking. And so with this new injection of life force, we shall place a new dispensation, which we shall call the Bounty of the I Am Discourses Dispensation, through my beloved Lady Portia and the Karmic Board of Directors that shall give the Elemental Grace Alliance, within this divine plan, a new impetus to take a giant leap forward. That is, if all members can hold the new energies of the I Am Presence's infinite power of love, wisdom, and justice. It will not be easy to begin with, but we can assure you that if the consciousness of the group, through its individual members, can hold and work with the I Am Presence, as is shared and set out within my discourses, within a year, all will be so charged with God opulence, infinite light, and life more abundant than you could ever imagine. 1 year, dear souls. But I warn you, any slip-ups in consciousness, any lack of concentration, and falling into old patterns or beliefs, filling the gas tank with petrol instead of diesel, or jumping the train, the delays upon your journey shall be longer than you would care to be told. The higher the resonances and use of energies, the greater the responsibilities. The greater the responsibilities, the greater the retributions to deal with. Make no mistake, to begin studying the discourses with the full resonances will be like the Vesta investment of energies. They should not be taken lightly. You all have the ability from where you are now to achieve this, else it would not be offered to you. Tread lightly, for the ground is laid with gossamer threads. Break the threads and you break the flow within the matrices of life. What I wish to do, Peter, is to include in the testimony to the Son of Even Pressure Council all my discourses in chronological order, for all to read and learn or refresh their memories of what this Alliance Council and this divine plan stands for. Take heed, dear brothers and sisters. This is what you have signed up for. Before I close, I will tell you this. In my classes where I have many students, they come with the best of intentions. They work hard and dedicate so much of themselves. I accept only those in my classes who place themselves before the obedience of their I am presence. Once that obedience is broken, they are removed from my classes, not only for their own good, but for the good of the other students. This makes sense, does it not? While it is inevitable that life can and does dictate life necessities that create diversions away from the I am, at these levels of study and awareness and achievements, and the I am presence individualized expressions in the good to do and the good to be. Any distractions that cannot be dealt with in accordance to the I am presence immediately means only one thing: the loss of momentum and life force. So if anyone is wondering about the removals or retreats of any old members of the ego, know they have my backing and support to take such actions. It may seem unfair at levels of human consciousness. The choices may not be accepted as truth, but I would have no delay in any such action. One is in or one is out. It is universal law and nothing to do with personal choices. It is very easy for the ego personality to say they do not agree with any such removals from any group, but here I want to tell you this. In any ashram of any master, none will allow any student, any disciple, or initiate at any level to remain in the ashram or their study programs unless the absolute I am presence obedience is fully honored. All members of all ashrams are told in no uncertain terms their obedience is demanded by the masters. Let me also remind you of this. The Elemental Grace Alliance is not a group. It is a living organism that was conceived and consecrated not by any human being, but by Shambhala itself. You have been told by Lord Melchizedek that the ego is an ashram in its own right, albeit in its early stages of formation. However, just because it is in its early stages of full manifestation, every step of the way has been divinely orchestrated, and those who act as the guardians, curators, custodians, stewards, and administrators are all following the universal laws that pertain to the God manifestation towards its perfection. In this light, then, we are overlighting those who are making the choices that must be made as if it were already a fully manifested ashram of consciousness, circle of light, Christ Council, ashram, whatever you would like to call it. We know mistakes will be made. We know errors shall be implemented. But more than that, we know and see how these are made, and so from a point of all-pervading light, all-knowing, we can allow such mistakes and errors to be played out. For we know the heart intentions. We know the reasons why the mistakes and errors are made. We know they are only short-lived and can be overcome without unnecessary delays. We know that we see what is registered as feelings within the inner world of everyone, so what is being shared above will always provide the right action of any choice. So, Remember that when one is not in agreement with any choice made that has been substantiated clearly and precisely through qualified information and knowledge, do not allow oneself to be affected by another's displeasure or disturbances of imaginary activities of how they perceive the outer self. Simply know the I Am, the only all-powerful acting presence in your own mind, in your body, and in your world. Through this, one cannot have imposed upon them by anyone or anything less than the I Am presence in active expression. It is not your concern how others act or behave. Your work is to uphold the I Am and place that infinite love into action, even if it is not understood by others who remain within their own outer perceptions. With this understanding, or by giving willing attention to this great truth, you will potentially find a peace, happiness, and self-control operating about yourselves to such an extent that no outer condition, disgruntled comment, or disturbance could again disturb them, their world, or their affairs. As soon as the individual becomes aware that he or she really has control of his or her own creative thought, power, and feeling, then they will know positively that they can precipitate into their visible use or bring into their use from the outer, where it is already created, anything whatsoever upon which he or she holds his or her creative thought and feeling firmly upon. The moment that he or she is truly aware of this, they will know that they are forever free of anything that the outer world can give. The present Elemental Grace Alliance administration will make mistakes. It is understandable. They will place errors into its life force, but if they do not act with the full authority as is perceived by them, then how will they ever see the mistakes or errors? Each one has to step up to the plate and go through the love in action to feel the love in action. Do you see? As long as the decisions are not ego-desire based or ego-driven, that no emotion is attached to it, then no decision will be far away from what is required at the time. Until the I Am is fully embraced, there will always be some wavering upon the accuracy of the choice. So, be that love and make the choices you feel in your hearts that are the right ones. And do not be afraid of making choices that stand within and for the greatest good of all concerned. Use the truth and the universal laws as your guiding light. Be the masters, the Christed beings that live by example to safeguard the integrity of the ashram, this living organism, and in turn the new radiation centers and sanctuaries will only attract those dear souls who will see the light of truth in every lesson, every decision made, every thought, word, and action. We have given you all the information shared within the Ega discourses, all the rules, all the laws, all the guidance you need to make this a success in the shortest time possible. So come forward, dear ones, and be that which you have pledged to become. Be the mighty, infinite I Am presence. In closing, I now return to the point that I wish to clarify that I made above. Conditions of use for the I Am presence discourses by the Ega. No person, unless they have completed the Ega Light programs, shall be allowed to study these discourses with the full radiation of resonance. No member who has left the Ega for any reason until they have re-established their covenants, pledges, and resonances shall be permitted to join these Ega classes. No mention of these discourses as being part of this Ega Light program shall be made to entice or be magnetized to others outside the inner groups of the ego. They must come absolutely voluntarily via their own I am presence. Complete the preliminary works, and then, and only then, shall they be told of this expansion of these I am presence potentials. Failure in this shall mean the one responsible for such a break in condition shall be removed immediately from the ego. You may think these are harsh conditions, but if you knew the consequences that could be far-reaching, or the work that awaits you, you would understand God is perfection in all things. You can trust and rely on God's support. We must be able to trust and rely on yours, as you are becoming the full expression of creation itself, and you have earned this right. Where to from here? I wish you all to begin thinking of coming to my retreat in the Tetons. When you are ready, I will make the arrangements, and you shall be our guest there. Do not make this invitation a goal. Simply set the intention and hand it over to the I Am to set it all in motion. Do you understand? I believe I have covered what you all need to know for now. Begin your preparations, dear souls. Give thought and consideration in how you will use these discourses, and call on me any time to assist or guide. But be mindful of this. The radiation centers you have in mind to create, the sooner you begin, the sooner we all can come and be with you all in physicality and share with you our radiation, hand to hand, face to face, heart to heart. You know this to be true because I have just told you how possible it is. In 1932, it took 30 years of preparation prior to the transmissions. Today, once the First Christ Council is ready, where each member can, at will, manifest anything they desire out of the ethers, guess what? We can come, and come by the droves. We will come. I am Saint Germain in your service. Benediction. Mighty infinite intelligence, we give praise and thanks for your mighty comprehension and mighty manifestation in the consciousness of those present. We give praise and thanks that I am the perfect understanding in operation, and that I am everywhere present, performing all required to be done. I am the illumination of everyone who looks to me. I am the radiant intelligent activity in the minds of all mankind. I am the master acting in the brain of everyone of humanity, causing divine love, justice, peace, harmony, and perfection to manifest anywhere at will. And so it is. Peter. I have been asked to include all Saint Germain's discourses in chronological order for a reason unbeknown to me. And here they are. God bless you. Number 9. Introduction. Elemental Grace Alliance Discourses, Saint Germain, 6th June, 2015. Saint Germain. Greetings. I am Saint Germain, Johann of the Seventh Ray. I have come not by the behest of Peter, but by my own request to hold a seat upon this council. I have been a part of this proposal from its investiture, listening to and watching all the twists and turns within its unfoldment, both from within the physical and mental expressions, or could I say projections that have been made in order to approach and refine and clarify a very powerful idea. I have interjected and at times intervened in Peter's thought processes to warn him of the dangers in proceeding towards this goal. I have shared with him my concerns and apprehensions, yet I have not told him how to proceed or given any particular direction to travel with it. The proof that this proposal is not your normal conscious creation lies in the fact that each of you have come to listen, share, and represent God at the highest levels of earth creation and the evolution of mankind at this critical and most auspicious moment in time. If nothing else, this dear soul has caught the attention of many, and his simple yet very complex proposal is but a firm foundation to proceed. Thus far, it has ticked all the boxes progressively within the laws of precipitation. We have seen the creations of mankind, that which is seen as destructive, negative, and inhumane from their perspectives. We have seen that which is deemed as constructive, positive, and humane as they believe. However, as you all know, this duality, these opposing energies that manifest the good and the bad, are all energies of love, power, and wisdom. The energy is always neutral. It is all-loving, but there are many levels of vibrational resonances and frequencies within it. It is only humanity's use of this energy that differentiates this duality through the lack of understanding, knowledge, and experience. There is no such thing as negative, yet the survival of the species demands both sides of the coin. It is part of the plan, the original idea. So as a measurement of the expansion of consciousness, many people upon the planet are now pushing the envelope, thinking outside the box, leaving behind the old ways of belief. They are no longer thinking like a human. They are thinking, speaking, and acting within their physical realities as the individualized expressions of the Prime Creator. They are listening and allowing their higher selves and the Christ within to guide them. I will have much to share throughout the itinerary of these discourses. So for now, I am Saint Germain, in love with humanity, and I shall return to my seat. Number 1. Protecting the Future. The Elemental Grace Alliance Council, Saint Germain, 1st July, 2015. Saint Germain. I am Saint Germain, Chohan of the Seventh Ray, and I have stepped forward first in this round of discourses, for I wish to say how pleased I am to see how harmoniously and graciously the Elemental Grace Alliance is expanding within its emergence. Protecting the future is an excellent suggestion for the change of direction that does uphold the qualities of the divine potentials unfurling here. I have elected to step forward first, as there is no order in which the members of this council have to speak. Each representative will instinctively know when it is their time to rise from their seat and address the group. This is something that humanity has yet to discover, while at the same time to understand the universal principles of such actions within the creation of High Council. It is not the level of vibration that really matters regarding a High Council of 12+1. Although the higher the resonance, the higher the creative powers will be, but the intention to provide the highest content of truth that is both enlightening and uplifting will provide for very enlightened goal achievements. It is the joy, peace, and love in action for the greatest good of all concerned that is the underlying fundamental guidelines to these councils and alliance formations or foundations. However, This is another subject for another time. I wish to speak a little today about protecting the future of life on Earth. The truth is, no protection is required at all, for all is divinely orchestrated to a finite degree, which the energies of the Prime Creator flow naturally and inexorably within, through and around with love. Yet, we are speaking here for and on behalf of the human element of consciousness, and that is where great diligence and awareness is required, so that life on Earth can ascend at a much quicker rate than it has done so in the past. How will humanity protect its own future? That is really what is being asked here, and what this council will address in accordance with the varying levels of awareness and knowing. Human beings expand their consciousness through new choices that they make in each new now moment. Humanity has to change their minds about so many things in their lives from this moment forward in time, especially accepting and acknowledging that they are not human, no longer thinking that they are. Humans have to stop thinking like a human if they are going to advance further toward their sentient status. The reason for this communication this day is to reveal that humanity has arrived at a new point in their evolutionary process, another crossroad, another turning point. Right now, they are poised upon the edge of yet another chasm where the bottom is undetected and unknown. This is not a physical hollow gorge covered in mists of invisibility, but the abyss of profound differences between peoples of diverse and varying levels of consciousness. There are vast numbers of human beings who are presently standing upon this edge of something new and exciting that is awaiting them for the greatest good of all mankind. So many aspirants are coming to the self-realization that something new is transpiring upon Earth, despite the chaos, turmoil, and outrageous actions of a few radical groups and control belief systems. That something has arrived, and those who are ready to become aware of it are gathering upon the precipice of this leading edge of advancement to be transformed. There is standing room only at this time, as few have yet made the decision to jump into this abyss, let alone to physically engage this transition. Imagine for a moment the picture of lemmings leaping off a cliff into the ocean as they follow their instinctive and intuitive natures to be transformed. This is what we see here with humanity, the moment they realize that life as they know it is not life at all, and just a substitute, while coming to understand the reality of their earth sojourn. There is something else that I wish to be known at this stage, and that is, humanity needs to become aware that within this period of change, all New Age concepts, the ways of being seen as spiritual, through all associated modalities and ways of being, were only created as a process of introducing oneself to one's higher self as to being spiritual in nature. Now that the spirituality is accepted, albeit not fully understood, then the partaking of the truth about being spirit must go hand in hand with thoughts, words, and actions. A lower level of consciousness is now able to be transcended and elevated to higher levels of awareness and truth. Truth never stops expanding, and to keep up with these rates of expansion, one must make new decisions constantly within their lives. I tell you, dear ones, that alternative modalities, regardless of their natures, are very rapidly becoming obsolete. The end of their usefulness is coming. Indeed, it has been suspended already, and thus will secure the new age disillusion, making way for the next dimensional shift into and through cosmic consciousness. The old New Age reality, as it has been called, was but another stepping stone toward more innovative, illustrious and illumined awareness of who human beings really are. It was another rung set upon the ladder of human evolution that would allow human beings to see another side of what used to be recognized to make them feel different, more important, and more spiritual than those who were living far more unconsciously within the general populace. These are the perceived differences in consciousness that I mentioned earlier. Us and them mentality. I am more spiritual than they are attitudes. I know better, and so my way is why I am correct in my own self-importance. So many have used spirituality as a crutch for their own protection from the truth. That crutch is now being withdrawn and evaporated into the ethers of imaginary reality. So please hear what I'm about to say. Let's call them light workers. Light workers have assimilated and utilized the information and knowledge from all sorts of higher entities for guidance and support, and indeed, these loving beings will always be available to guide and direct where necessary. These divine light beings were given permission via dispensations from God to open communications with humanity. These dispensations were offered to provide relief of the higher laws and originally ascribed obligations held within the charters and fiats of God that prevented this interaction between higher entities and humanity on the ground. I'm not saying this communication will cease. What I am saying is that the present forms that it takes is now beginning to wane, which will allow humanity to stand far more within their own powers of connection with their I Am presence and no longer giving their power away to anything outside of themselves. By giving their power away, I mean by using such higher communications as a crutch for them not to stand in their own power of the God light within. But what is being called for now is for the humans who know that they are becoming the Christed ones to step forward and tell their stories of how they changed their lives through self-awareness and how they made their connections directly to their higher selves / I Am presence / God, Goddess within. These are the new leaders of the planet, the ones that will guide and support humanity from directly within the midst of the human experience. No, I am not speaking of those who work in alignment of self-gratification and self-gain. I am not referring to those who draw energy from others to make themselves feel better or more powerful or higher in the overall scheme of things. And believe me, there are a multitude who take advantage of those around them through the use of higher information and making themselves appear on the surface as more enlightened. Yes, what I am speaking of are those beautiful souls who are selfless distributors of the light, the ones who work tirelessly behind the scenes in the limelight of assumed spiritual prowess. I am referring to those who continue to hold the presence of God in their lives simply for love's own sake, and not for any type of personal gain, be it money, power, or position. These are the souls we are now asking to become more translucent, to shine their light so that others may see them more transparently, indeed with a more crystal clear consciousness. We need you now more than ever before, not for what you have to say, but for the resonances of the light that shines from within you. You know who you are. Yes, I am speaking with you, my beloved brothers and sisters. These souls will be far more accepted by the general populace, for they will be seen as human avatars, in the likeness that others can easily believe they can imitate and emanate from within themselves. So their achievements will be accepted as potentialities of attainable spirituality, given the work that is required to be undertaken. For those who have never read the parable of the tar pit by Cryon and Lee Carroll, you would do well to read this simple yet most powerful imagery of truth in fine light print. I can tell you now, dear souls, that these are the people that we are calling forth presently to close the gaps of indifference, to bridge the chasms of ignorance and arrogance between the disparities of perceptions in alternative beliefs and understandings of the truth about life upon earth and human relationships between themselves and the natural kingdoms. Channeling as you presently know it will soon become a thing of the past, as there will be the new Christed beings in your neighborhood who will share their own first-hand experiences of knowledge, love, and wisdom, not as human medium of a higher voice, but a human angel expressing the voice of God directly and first-hand from within them. Let me emphasize this one more time, for I cannot tell you how important it is for you to know this. The present New Age is waning very rapidly, and the new cosmic consciousness has arrived, flowing fervently to fill every crack and crevice of human thought form and conscious belief. This cosmic consciousness is not about New Age modalities. It is about being and living within the physical realms, fully embodying greater knowledge that now has begun to abundantly amalgamate love with action. Many are noticing that the old ways of doing things just do not seem to work any longer. Many have felt the pregnant pauses within their lives as they typically begin to step toward old ways, old beliefs, and old programs. Many are realizing that there is no longer completion of old tasks, for they dissolve well before fruition. Well, this is an invitation to all who wish to open their hearts to another way of achieving higher states of awareness and accomplishments. The new cosmic consciousness is the higher truth of who you are and have always been. The resolutions found through the Elemental Grace Alliance will begin to draw closer for greater numbers of humanity who will begin to realize that there is a huge difference between what we call spiritual glamour and divine spirituality. These are like chalk and cheese, and you're going to hear many messages from Spirit, channeled and otherwise, about this as time continues to flow towards higher vibrational living. Spiritual glamour was and shall remain for 10 to 20 years as part of the New Age concepts, their modalities and aspects of how they are promoted and used. The reason they are dissolving away is that they never really address the deeper issues of the truth held within the genetic DNA profile of each human being. Not really. They did create ease for the discomforts, but never addressing or eliminating the underlying factors of their cause. To do this, the causal bodies must be contacted and communicated with, and that can only be attained through cosmic consciousness, your link to God through your own individualized I Am presence or higher self. To grow, one needs to expand their consciousness beyond the limitations of what they presently can accept as truth. The new cosmic consciousness is asking you to expand, expand, expand. To open your supreme mind to greater potentials of wakefulness. To look even further afield by allowing your higher I Am presences to lead you away from the old truth and toward the only truth. There has never been such a cosmically supported potential as this in the history of the planet to date. Billions of years in the planning. Can you imagine that? If you do not resonate with these words, then maybe you should look a little deeper into the life and times of beloved Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Mother Teresa, Buddha, St. Francis of Assisi, Ascathoumi, and many, many others. Indeed, look at the lives that I have spent on earth, over the last 2,000 years. Look at the lives of those who lived on earth and physically reached their enlightenment and ascension status as an ascended master. Believe me when I tell you, within the life and times of these precious souls, there was no room for spiritual glamour. Their and my ascension came from our cosmic consciousness and its implementation into our physical and earthly lives through our conscious interaction and love with the elementals, devas, and angelic host companions. Our lives became the physical manifestation of spirit through the connections we made to our causal and monadic bodies. We became the full embodiment of the living Christ, the I Am presence, the God I Am within. Just as you are awakening to do soon as you continue to walk toward it at this time. And dear souls, I am here to tell you that this new cosmic consciousness is here for all to embrace now in a much more tangible, loving way. For us, it was far more difficult. But by doing this, we have paved the way for many, many more on a much grander scale to achieve the same. It is and is not easy, for what we can attest, yet the time is here. Eons of years of training and preparation have brought you to this place of standing upon the edge of change once again, along with many of your colleagues, friends, and family who have supported you over the millennia. Standing room only indeed. Now is the time to open your hearts and to take your next leap of faith, to trust in what you are being shown through those who love you immeasurably. Jump then into the cosmic abyss of the unknown so that the unidentifiable can be celebrated through clarification. The indescribable can be unmistakably definable, and the mysterious can become the known. And once this has been experienced and integrated into your new lives, then it can become your new wisdom, from which you will grow towards the next stepping stone, the next rung upon another ascension ladder. No harm will come to you, for you are a child of God. Remember, ascension is not a place. It is simply the achievement of attaining a higher awareness of the truth through active and conscious expansion and expression of God's impersonal love and life with all. Once again, I ask that you listen very carefully to what I am going to say, for I will not mince my words. I am known for my directness and honesty. Your ascension, dear human beings, depends from this point forward upon your connection, voluntary interaction, co-creational activities, and unity consciousness with the elemental and natural kingdoms. Make no mistake, the elemental kingdoms, the angelic worlds, the nature beings are you. What you are doing to yourselves, you are at the very instant doing to them as well. They are everything you stand for. Your life, your breath, your heartbeat, your food, sustenance, health, abundance. Your thought forms, words, and actions are directly reflective in what you see around you as constructive and beneficial creation or destructive and detrimental deprivation. This Elemental Grace Alliance has been proposed to bridge this gap in lack of awareness and understanding of the relationships between humanity and this wonderful light beings and builders of form, and not without virtuous reason. Human beings are very powerful indeed in their creations, yet the power that you have yet to tap into will come only from your newly found alliance with the elemental, nature, and angelic host worlds and kingdoms. I am not just saying it. Your life, your ascension, now depends upon the merging of human consciousness more than ever before upon planet Earth with these dear God beings. There's still a lot to share, but as we are speaking within this group of discourses about the protection of the future for humanity, we are also speaking of the protection and the grateful thanksgiving to all those who support humanity in all their choices, no matter how low in vibration they may be or may have been in the past. The new cosmic consciousness is here, and so it is for all of humanity to now have access to it when they choose to make that choice. I am Saint Germain, and I am the love of humanity. I know what it is to be human, and I know the processes that are required to uplift them into their own power, love, and wisdom with all that is. Your success is our goal. I now step back to allow others who wish to step forward to offer their love to this noble cause. And it is so. Number 3. Quality of life and freedom of spirit. Elemental Grace Alliance, Saint Germain, 15th August, 2015. Beloveds, I am Saint Germain, Chohan of the Seventh Ray, and this is the age of freedom through ceremony and ritual. I too come today with an excitement of joy and relief, for what has transpired over the past days is indeed a foundation for so much advancement and the quickening toward the gifting of humanity, the elementals, the devas, and the angelic host, the Christ light of love, life, and God. I am in joy indeed. However, even though I am so enthused by the focus of all these proposals brought forth by an unascended being, there are aspects of these things that need clarification and elaboration upon, although perhaps not entirely through this alliance. After all, the chasm that continues to divide humanity in unified consciousness still in many ways is just as wide as ever. Even within the more dedicated individuals and groups around the planet that shall be the leaders via the new bridge of consciousness that is yet to be effectively and efficiently constructed. So many good-hearted souls still do not fully comprehend the dynamics and the formulas to achieve such goals. And there is only so much that we can do to help when free will and lack of absolute love in action is applied. Peter has outlined so many proposals that we are aware of. Not all have black and white solutions. There are some that we have not been able to extend our full powers of influence over due to the lack of human permission through the correct laws of invocation, ceremony, and ritual. Remember, please, that this 2,000-year cycle of change has only just begun its divine influence and still within the transitional period of its own individualized fruitfulness. Indeed, what Peter is alluding to, whether applied or implied, consciously or purposefully withholding certain relevant information, the next 2,000 years is a time of new religion, a time where a brand new thought form will be introduced to the masses of humanity, whereby all the good of the God attributes of all present-day religions will be garnered and then adapted within a new cosmic consciousness through ceremony, ritual, service, invocation, and love in action. Ritual must not be misunderstood, for it does carry within human consciousness negativity through the use of black or dark magic. But ritual is simply directed energy, and what I am stating is the ordered service of directed energy. Where energy is not directed, it disperses itself to become once again neutral, awaiting its next invocation. The new specialized gatherings to truly nurture and protect the quality of life and freedom of spirit through invocation, ceremony, and ritual have already begun. And these gatherings indeed work within certain areas of the dispensations that Peter so wisely and assuredly has proposed. Maybe Peter would like to share a channel that was given him some time ago that reflects and outlines the very beginning of such new gatherings, and I will gladly elaborate upon these guidelines. For this is the direction we are now traveling, particularly with point number 17 of the proposals, teaching facilities and programs. So much to tell you, so much we wish to give, provide, and assist humanity with. Yet still our hands are tied for just a while longer before humans are in a position of their own focus of knowing what it is they, through their own I Am presence, desires of them. While confusion remains, misunderstandings of their perceptions of what God is and how the laws of the universe function and are applied, there remains a deficit of love substance that shall continue to prevent the movement of mountains, the removal of negativity, discord, destruction, and the elimination of inhumane actions toward humanity. What is so beautiful about this Elemental Grace Alliance? And I did indeed from its beginning have my reservations, but through one human being with a dream, so much clarity of intention and application of the laws, it has provided this amazing platform from which to ascend into greater awareness and universal understanding. Through this shall come a revolution of truth that will set humanity free from all those things they are presently having to face head on. This Elemental Grace Alliance was proposed originally because there was perceived an imbalance between humanity and elemental kingdoms. It is absolutely on track within the present human consciousness, and the need to reunite the three groups of human beings that must come together before any of the proposals made here can be fully engaged, implemented, executed, or employed. I shall explain why. As the angelic host, the devas, and the elementals all deal primarily with primal energies, they are not so interested with the representation of form. The forms that they are drawn to is not important for them. The electronic vibration of the source of the energy that they work and build form from is what generates their passion and their joy in service to God in using this energy. On the other hand, mankind is more greatly enthused with the consciousness that works with form, and thus the one who continuously brings forth endless ideas that require form. Now, while man remains unaware of the perfection in the use of primal source energy and the love substance of God, and the elementals, devas, and angels are not concerned with that which is desired to manifest in physicality, it is not obvious by all that to direct the energies of the power of creation to such attainments and to expedite the process of correct manifestation, particularly at the optimal levels, manifesting directly from the ethereal levels of God's substance, that man and the elementals, devas, and angelic host draw their consciousness together in a mutually beneficial and cooperative endeavor to effect our new age of freedom. It is this aspect alone that is being set forth within this alliance. It is, to date, only those who have shared the greater vision with the seventh ray of the age of freedom that will truly manifest on earth. These unascended volunteers are the pioneers who are setting in motion a movement toward this goal. The ascended masters and other light beings are the ones who design and execute God's desires, yet it is humanity that must voluntarily be drawn to partake and ultimately be the ones who manifest and create their own quality of life and freedom of spirit. I am aware The time and space are very confined as to give any detailed information regarding what is being shared here. I know that on the surface, I may appear to be avoiding speaking of the points raised, but for those with inner sight and awareness, there is indeed a very direct and profound message here that is way more important than all those things put together. These are the foundation stones from which to build our new era of the Golden Age, the rock upon which the church is built. The creation of the new circles of light gatherings will be the foundation stones. From there, the Christ councils shall be made manifest, and from there, the councils will manifest. These three groups, the humans and the elementals, devas and angelic host, will indeed flow in confluence together, adjoining both with the uniting powers of purity, of intention, in total alignment with the elementals and angelic host, using the correct powers of invocation, ceremony, along with qualified thoughts and feelings, appropriate music, and the application of the sacred fire of the seventh ray by humans, which will speed up the quickening process of electronic vibrational resonances for the balance of all life and its divine freedom. This is how Jesus shall be removed from the old iconic charge of being on the cross. The quicker this commences, the quicker this will happen. I will now address Peter's request for further information on point number 10. He asked, "This I would kindly and respectfully ask Saint Germain to speak of this program in terms of this alliance proposal, to offer his perspective as to the continued delay of the proclamation announcement that must by U.S. law precede enactment of the widespread provision of trust funds that await disbursement. I also ask that, is it the continued presence of the cabal that continues to delay and create such objections to this financial reform? Thank you." Again, such a vast subject and so little space to provide a greater awareness. To understand the present situations of the cabal and their allies, one must first be reminded that God in his wisdom has and continues to allow all to unfold directly in accordance to his will. While humanity remains subservient to these powers and continues to deny their activation of their I Am presence, these characters will continue their reign, albeit under very strict boundaries from which we are in control as to our mandate with God's overall design. We are aware of their every word, thought, and action, and where they surpass ultimate intentions to destroy the masses, we can and do intervene. They know our powers, and yet they continue to push the limits of their allowances. Their day is coming, but not before human empowerment to say no more. Certain human groups are saying no, and are indeed building resistances against the cabal. But these, dear souls, are not coming from the full understanding, and although their unified power is great, it also disassembles and allows the perpetrators to reassemble in other activities that can sometimes be effectively worse. Humans have no idea the resilience and power these cabal have. But they are not greater than God, and before long the dark will disappear at the hands of the light. Although Peter has brought all these things to the surface within a single document of expression, there is little that can be done while that which I have given in the first half of my address is not implemented by humanity themselves. They must take back their powers of sovereignty and act together in unified fields of consciousness, not as one here and one there, and a group here and group there, that are not taking the responsibility of action without human egos getting involved. The presently perceived balance of cabal power will continue to push the envelope of human endurance. This will be so until mankind fulfills their I Am presence's desires for them to raise themselves above the entanglement of those levels of consciousness. The balance is turning, but not as quick as we would like. Today, we wish to see such potentials arising that there is a greater effort now being exerted toward this means of collaboration between humanity and the elementals, devas, and angelic host. Make no mistake, my friends, what has transpired here within this alliance has already touched the heart and soul of every human being upon the planet. The invocations that Peter has set forth into action are now in action and will continue to be as they are, through every engagement from here on in, with all the elementals, angelic host, archangels, ascended masters offering their support. This is indeed a milestone in the history of our beloved earth. God knew it was coming, and the responsibilities to create it through human endeavor is now in motion. But here is something else to be mindful of, dear souls. When Jesus began his reign 2,000 years ago, this was the age of the Christian dispensation, the beginning of the Christian religion. God, in his wisdom, gave but one man to humanity to pave the way before this new 2,000-year golden age of the new cosmic consciousness. Not a religion as you know it, but one that will indeed unite the masses in a higher worship of God that you have never known upon earth before. This is the adoration and expression of the I Am presence through human angels. The new gatherings will be the churches from which the word of the I Am presence will spread. Not the churches of old, but the new places of worship in whatever form they take, that the golden heart light manifests. And as it spreads like ants to a honey pot, they will come in their droves. Why? Because the pain of staying away will be too great. The light of these new leaders and directors of the new churches will act as magnets of love, power, and wisdom for humanity to find peace. There will be many bearers of this light, for 1 or 2 or 100 or 1,000 will not be sufficient to undertake the work that is proposed here by Peter in his proposals. The number estimated was 144,000, and until the number is reached, the work will not be complete. These 144,000 individualized expressions of the I Am presence will have to be achieved for this full transition. To become the second coming, the living Christ they will be. And they will walk amongst the people until they have achieved their ascended status. These souls will have to achieve the God presence within themselves in the physicality of earth, and the convictions and feelings and the presence of the authority and its powers will allow them to invoke and draw from anywhere in the universe whatever power and powers may be required to render assistance in the environment in which he or she is presently residing and living. Indeed, as they move around the planet, clearing, cleansing, and healing. These masters will be the priests and the priestesses of the sacred fire who will be capable, with increasing efficacy, of uplifting their brothers and sisters to greater quality of life and freedom of spirit. Dear humans, we are here standing beside you, each of you, and so we will do our part. But by the same token, you must do yours. Without your participation and love in action, without your commitments, dedication, and rhythm of consistency and constancy, without you calling the shots and making the decisions of that which you desire, our hands are tied to any degree of getting physically involved. I shall stop now to allow others to come forward from their divine awareness and comments of further love and support. Call on me anytime and I will come. Through humanity, your freedom will be won. Freedom with all the divine attributes and virtues in action, expressing their qualities through you. God bless you. And so it is. I believe that Saint Germain's words relating these new gatherings also embrace the truth offered through these words by Joseph Benner's channel of God. You, who have heard the call of the Christ, and have consecrated yourself and your life to the service of humanity. You, who have felt the divine urge to give to others of the spiritual blessings you have received. You who have assumed the position of teacher and leader to the hungering souls that have come to you to be fed. Hear this, my special message to you. You, beloved, are my chosen minister. You I have selected to be an avenue through which I shall pour many blessings into the world. Yes, I have called you apart and have pointed out to you the vast work there is to do, the millions of sleeping souls awaiting for the touch that will rouse them into a consciousness of the real purpose of their being here in this life. I have shown you wherein you can help in this work and have proven to you that you are truly helping by the appreciation and gratitude of those whom I have brought to you and enabled you to help. Yes, you will feel you're working in vain, and although the way may appear dark and uncertain, and the means and ability to continue may not be in evidence, yet something within you compels you to keep going on, telling you that all will be taken care of in due season, if you prove faithful to the cause you have made your own. I recall all this to you, even though it may not have appeared thus clearly before to your mortal consciousness. I point this out in order to prepare you for what I now have to say. For I now desire you to know that I have a definite plan and purpose in all this, and that the time is here when you may become a conscious co-worker with me in its fulfillment. The point in your spiritual life has been reached when your true place in my plan and an understanding of my purpose will be revealed to you. Number 8. Narayana and Divine Grace. The Elemental Grace Alliance Council, Saint Germain, Lady Portia, 16th January, 2016. Saint Germain. Esteemed members of this Alliance Council, beloved children of the light, blessed Peter, I come today as part of these closing discourses, with my heart pulsating with a joy that I have not felt for a very long time. I have heard within the last few discourses something that in all my knowing did not expect, for it to surface, especially through the progressive presentations of the information presented thus far in the Elemental Grace Alliance is indeed a miraculous achievement indeed. This idea of the new radiation centers of the beloved Maha Chohan even surprised me, with this idea coming forth so soon and without any anticipated signs. One that was always in hopeful train to come forward in the consciousness of unascended and ascended beings alike one day. But not did I ever see that it would have ever arisen to the conscious awareness of this entire universal Earth evolutionary program initiated from a simple question or statement from a humble human ant, as he so modestly calls himself, and a simple question that he shared with God and his beloved I Am presence. My hat, metaphorically speaking, for I do not wear a hat, a halo perhaps. There is great laughter in the alliance. Yes, I take off my hat to you, my brother, in all your human naivety, which has initiated such a grand council. I must admit, as I told you from the beginning, that I was rather skeptical about such an impulsive, yet prudent request. I stand here today corrected by the divine manifestation of this elemental grace alliance, and I am pleased to say that. And to you, beloved Maha, for seeing this potential looming and stepping forward to make your thoughts and feelings known, so that others can now build upon these loving energies. Just as we did when we all began the manifestation of those groups of chelas who were asked to assist us in compiling the truth of the nature of love and light. Those beloved disciples back then worked tirelessly to prepare, publish, and disseminate the words of the I Am Presence in God that really has made a huge impact upon where spiritual humanity is today and their understanding of the I Am Presence. It is my privilege this day in voicing to you my gratitude, my boundless gratitude for all the sincerity, all the loyalty to the light and to the mighty I Am Presence of all those disciples and all those who have taken the reams of information and knowledge and placed it into their lives. A great fruition has taken place, for after so many centuries of effort, it was/is not until this understanding of the mighty I Am Presence has been brought forth that mankind could be sustained, or even that which was temporarily accomplished to be made permanent. So I give you these words today as an eternal, everlasting, stabilizing encouragement for the I Am power to act within everyone who desires to create the perfection the heart of love desires. Now, the same loyalty, commitment, and dedication of selfless love and action must use this information that is now a human experience and place it within the lives of the individuals and groups that will align to the new radiating centers. All the outer information available is provided, and that part of the plan is, shall I say, complete. Now it is time to seek out the inner information and to place it into one's experiences with fervent and unwavering selfless commitment to make it knowledge and hence to turn it into divine love, wisdom, and power. When I feel the energies of the magnetic white fire electronic light that has been generated by this alliance, I know that it will attract, like moths unto a naked flame, those who are ready to shine their radiant lights forth into all realms of humanity, earth, the elementals, devas, nature spirits, and the angelic host. This gives me such delight to think about and a divine eagerness to build upon from here. What a divinely beautiful and gracious way to bring these blessed discourses to a close within the first stage of these proposals. However, within all this genuine adoration given which comes so passionately from my heart center to each member, scholar, and Chela who desires to enter into such more expansive natures of expression, there are some serious facets of such a merging that also needs to be qualified as admonishments for the creation of these new radiation centers. You are beginning to realize, beloved ones, that these formations shall not be just another activity of personal conscious service brought forth. Instead, they shall be intended to become impersonal, selfless, giving and permanent establishment of the mighty God Presence activities, which expand firstly through each member of the group, and then continue to expand outwardly from the heart center of the central God flame of the overlighting masters and archangels. It could be likened to moving from an elementary high school with all respects to the elementals here, directly to a specialized university. Those who register for Earth universities generally do so without the feelings of ever resigning from the studies before the degrees are achieved. In the case of those who are just lingering half-heartedly with these new potentials and may temporarily turn aside due to lack of self-assurances or through listening to foolish gossip, will return again at some stage, sometime, and see their great mistake being presented to them in the here and now of their future time here on earth. Or, as the case may be, upon another earth realm within another universe. Something else to contemplate, beloveds. So, dear ones, stand within your I Am presence, untouched by any lack of self-assurance or human gossip, attack, or interference, knowing that all is within your grasp in the acceptance of your mighty presence and its application. I say this because you would not be reading this if you were not ready to join the new radiation universities of light. It is amazing how mankind continues to believe that things to which it has not been accustomed are impossible. Just because they have not previously had information concerning these things, or their attention has not been called to them. Again, I say to you, this is no idle result of imagination, but one that has been clearly intentional, fortified by the conscious application of the laws of creation themselves. It is a mighty power which, with God's loving hand, the ascended ones and the unascended human hearts will manifest through the powers of the mighty I Am presence. We who have accomplished the magnificent victory of the etheric temples of light stand ever ready to encourage, to strengthen, to give you the powers of our life, to sustain and encourage you unto your new radiation centers or temples victory, and even your ascension to be achieved. Oh, I plead with you, beloved children of the light, who have been in this light for sufficient years and who have awakened as way showers. Never allow your human self or anyone else to cause you to question for 1 second your ability to build your light temples or to make your ascension even in this embodiment. I tell you again that age, as you know it, has nothing whatever to do with it. The expansion of the light within you has everything to do with it, and the human self knows nothing about that. The pledges you take will be to your own I Am presence and no one else. Do not, please, I press upon you, go into those groups out of curiosity, wonder, speculation, or even awe, unless you are absolutely willing to fulfill that requirement to which you have and must declare your intention by placing your name in covenant of the calling. You may not understand yet what it means, or the action of the law when unfaithful to your own light. So I tell you this in advance, dear ones, your heart has always been willing, and now your intellect may say, yes, I am willing to abide by this. But please, please, remember you will be acting under the law of your great I Am presence, the all-seeing eye of God, your mighty I Am presence, from which no single motive or act is hidden. Sometimes the messengers have pleaded with the beloved disciples for so long, yet they will still go on doing the things that they know in their hearts are a tragic mistake, regardless of what they believe is right in their hearts. They think no one knows it. We cannot help knowing what is within your motive, what is within your world, for it is imprinted on the atmosphere about you, because every thought, feeling, and motive is a record which we have to read. Not that we seek to do it, but if we are going to help you, we must read it. Will you not feel now in this moment and hold it forever, that the all-seeing eye of God, which your higher mental body uses, knows every single thing that occurs in your life, every feeling and motive that is there? Do not try to deceive your presence. I am speaking with all the love of my heart, for I want to help you. I want you to see, if you will, the mistake of just humanly entering into a thing without a pure, honest motive behind it. Remember in your heart center, as well as in the heart center of other beings who may serve the attractor field or teachers of God, must come purity, loyalty, and faithfulness if you are to go forward in the light. Deception is an unpardonable karmic generator anywhere in the world, and so much more in imagination with anyone who has the knowledge and indeed is already working with the Almighty I Am presence. So if you have made mistakes, this is the point in which I am trying to help. If you have made mistakes and you know, the heart always knows. There is no one who can make excuses for it. Self-pity and vanity will have no bearing and shall receive their just returns, karmically speaking. Any of the old human traits or attitudes have no part in this work. Therefore, I want you to feel that I hold your hand to help you overcome all these things. If you have made mistakes, call immediately on the law of forgiveness and ask the I Am presence or Holy Spirit presence to wipe them out, dissolve and consume the cause and effect of that mistake or any other. Today, beloved ones, great is your privilege. Great is your freedom, which stands with the door wide open, facing into the great eternal light, which holds all things for you. Will you not accept it? Will you not continue? The great I Am presence has pushed back the doors of doubt and fear, and over you is written in golden light, your way to freedom. Will you not accept it? Enter in now with greater firm determination and see how quickly all disturbance will dissolve and disappear from your world. You are now the master of your world, and if you will but accept and use your dominion of the I Am presence. Never question your ability, your authority, your powers to achievement. God, the mighty I Am presence, whose ray of light and energy beats your heart and sustains your life, is your certain victory always. Will you not engrave that upon your consciousness for constant use, so it may show you and give you the eternal proof that you cannot fail? When people come to you with discordant things, be silent. Then you will hold your world in this great harmony until the fullness of it loses the power of the God I Am presence to go forth and do what is required. No one thing is more difficult for mankind to conquer than the continual revolving in thought of some discordant thing. Today you have the knowledge in your mind, the scepter in your hand, in the name of the mighty I Am presence by which you can fill your world with happiness, beauty, purity, and perfection. I beseech you, stand guard over your world. Your presence will, if called into action, lead you. Remember, you can love your family, friends, communities, and the world more powerfully without your arms around them. Then you are not in danger of the human desires sweeping in and causing you to do things you will regret the rest of your life. Oh, beloved precious young people, I have watched the progress of mankind throughout the centuries and have seen beautiful, blessed young men and women go down under the desires of old human consciousness and projections and the suggestions from humanity that tell them they should waste their energy. Then after, as years pass by, they become decrepit and aged, when they could have maintained the youth, beauty, and perfection in their bodies, sustained by the conservation of their energies. Oh, dear souls, young and old, who have made mistakes, call on the law of forgiveness. Take a firm, determined stand with your mighty I Am presence to hold control in your world, to remove from you all wrong desires, and to hold its dominion within you eternally now. Today, beloved ones, my love enfolds you with the fullness of its power for your happiness, freedom, and ascension. I pour forth the great love of the great host of ascended masters, the great cosmic beings and the legions of light, to glorify, to enfold, and to hold you within its mighty God radiance of the sacred white fire flame of electronic light unto your eternal victory. The glory of the light of God, the mighty I Am presence within you, enfolds you in its invisible protection, enfolds you in its mighty directing intelligence, and clothes you in its mighty light forever sustained. I bless this alliance and all that it has achieved to date. May it continue to expand, expand, and expand through the violet flames of myself and all of my glorified colleagues and friends. Before I step aside for my beloved Lady Portia to come forth and share some words of encouragement herself, I have just received a message from Peter telepathically asking what to call these new radiation centers. Although it is not my choice to make such a decision, I would suggest, however, that each center would be called by the name of the overlighting master, Elohim or Archangel. For within their names there is already embedded the vibrational qualities and virtues of their gifts from God. This would help to ground such centers instantaneously upon their openings to begin their radiating powers. For example, the Saint Germain Lady Portia Sanctuary of the Violet Flame. This would help people to immediately correlate themselves with the divine activities of that which is their own ray essence as it shines forth. I hope that this is of help to you, dear Peter, but the final choice is yours, dear soul, a legacy and your birthright that is being bestowed upon you, having earned it with the distinction and divine grace and honor for your work and contributions to Narayana University of Earth Life. Beloved Portia, I am at the end of my discourse now. Bless you for your magnificent radiance and patience. Lady Portia. Beloveds, I am Lady Portia, and today I come to you both as Lady Portia, the divine consort of beloved Saint Germain, as well as one of the directors of the Karmic Board. I am the Chohan of the Golden Ray of the Christ Buddha within yourself. As the feminine aspects of the violet fire, I also work with Saint Germain on the seventh ray, and now are also transcending to the eighth golden ray in preparations for what will come in Earth's future. So I am also called the Goddess of Justice and the Goddess of Opportunity. Esteemed members of this council, Peter, and all the dear souls who will soon come into contact with these discourses, I wish to share with you the opportunities which have now illuminated themselves as a result of these gatherings and the new potentials that may develop in the very near future. Just as you must garner the necessary radiation of light to preserve the freedom of your soul, to preserve your soul in light that will keep it in orbit not only around the physical sun center of the solar system, but also around the spiritual sun, the great central sun as it is called, that is a source of life for all life forms in this system. Each one who is able to sustain the radiation of light required to keep himself or herself free becomes a candidate for the garnering of energies necessary to keep the planet free. Free of what, you may ask? The weight of world karma has never been as great as it is today. And as Peter has outlined within these discourse proposals, there is very definitely an aspect of the work to come that must still be addressed in some detail. Here is where I see the use of these new radiation centers also coming into their own with the appropriate directorship at the helms of the commissions assigned. Make a mental note here, dear Peter, for I am herewith nominating you as an unascended human representative, acknowledged by the Karmic Board of Directors as one of the new Earth Directors who shall sit upon a new Board of Administrators that I myself are now considering with such a contractual obligation within the formation of the new radiation centers of light. The Divine Mother shall intercede before the court of the sacred fire on behalf of the children of God, that the descent of their own karma might not destroy the very platform of their evolution. Let me ask you a question. What is the use of the path of initiation if the planetary platform can no longer sustain its evolutions? Let me answer that for you. The path of initiation is drawn with two parallel lines. The first is the man or woman attaining self-mastery in the microcosm of his or her physical being. The second is the man or woman attaining self-mastery in the macrocosm of the planetary body and consciousness. Now, with this in mind, we also need to consider that of the cosmocosm, if I can call it that. For, as has been cited within this Elementary Grace Alliance proposals, the extent of these situations that have made themselves known to the Alliance, we have to take into account the planetary bodies, including the Kuiper and asteroid belts, and other masses of physical bodies that have not been discovered yet. Those dear souls who have garnered the radiation of energies for the first line of initiation are then given the opportunity to sustain the second. So many upon the earth ignore the laws of God and their own opportunity to make advancement whatsoever along spiritual lines, that it is a requirement of the law that the few in every age carry the weight of planetary karma in order that the many may find the opportunity for overcoming both in the present and in the future, because the planetary platform has been preserved. Jesus the Christ was the liberator of the world because in the moment of victory he held the balance for all mankind. This means that the radiation of light that he garnered within his own aura was sufficient to hold the balance for the entire weight of the sins of the world. Because he held that balance, you and all of mankind have the opportunity for evolution here and now. It is now your turn, dear souls, you who are the way-showers, and who have contracted to take on this responsibility. And needless to say, you, dear Peter, are one of those dear ones. But you knew that, anyway. Did not you? Now, you can join the force fields of your light momentums through the new formations of the radiation centers for that of the salvation of the world. By having such groups of dedicated souls, the weight of the world can be diluted, so to speak, and by the declarations you make, as in Christ I am, God also, the salvation of the world may come to fruition in a much shorter time frame. Therefore, draw unto yourselves the energy of salvation that are for the preservation of the planet and its people. Beloved children of God, call forth then your holy Christ selves, beating within your hearts and that of all mankind. You are being called by your benevolent Father and Divine Mother today to become the new radiators or transmitters of light under the auspices of the new radiation temples. Expand the virtues of those centers for which you shall be given the individualization of such by the Father of Light. Expand the nature of Father, Mother, God, given you before you took physical form. Expand and manifest now that part and pattern of the great divine plan for which you were allowed to come into embodiment to do by the great karmic board. O thou beloved holy Christ self within the hearts of all mankind, hear my voice, my words through your feelings, your minds, and the etheric substance and the flesh of you. The blessed ones gathering together again, just as the Essenes did around Jesus before his ascension. I call upon you now in the name of the great central sun. Draw upon the glory of your own causal bodies. Magnetize the radiation of the sacred white fire electronic light that you have built in, through, and around you over the centuries that have passed. Release now the floodgates of divinity for which the individualized I Am presence has sustained you through these eons of time. Ah, beloved Holy Christ Self within all mankind, now is your hour. Now is your day. Come forth and fulfill thyself for the blessings of all that is. To the human outer personality of every individual upon this planet, I say, in the name of Almighty God, which I am without limit, peace. Be still and know that I am God. No longer shall your destructive use of the human free will limit the expansion of the power of the Holy Christ Self within every beating heart, even beyond the veil of death. Particularly to those who have, through the mercy of God, been released from the compound of life, that is, those who are awaiting to incarnate upon the planet, I speak in all of my authority. No longer shall destructive use of free will be allowed to you. I invoke the full release of the design and pattern of your Holy Christ Self this day, that there shall be no more thoughts, words, or actions to that perceived Armageddon and struggle. Congratulations, dear Peter, on your achievement thus far. And we can all stand here with our hands on our hearts and say, Valet, valet, valet to you for your simplicity and your humility in working in harmony with the Holy Father and Divine Mother in you. I, Lady Portia, now stand aside to make way for the next dear speaker to come forward. In God we trust and love. And joy it is.